Today, I will tell you about the life of Steve Jobs, one of the most important names in the technology world, the difficulties he experienced, his experiences, his developments, and the steps he took. Steve Jobs is known as the founder and CEO of Apple, the owner of Pixar, and the largest shareholder of Disney. So how did he achieve this success? Let's find out together. Steve Jobs was born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco. His biological father is a political science professor of Syrian origin. His biological mother was an American student. However, Steve, who was born from an extramarital affair, was handed over to a family for adoption. Paul and Claire Jobs, couple, adopted him and named him Stephen Paul Jobs. Steve lived a simple and modest life in California. Steve, who has been interested in technology since his childhood, loved playing with electronic devices in his father's garage. Steve, who was not very successful at school, stood out for his creativity and curiosity. After graduating from high school in the year 1902, Steve enrolled in the college, but was only able to study there for one semester, unable to pay school fees and dissatisfied with the education system. Steve left school and began to have different experiences. He stayed in the money temple and met an Indian pride. He tried drugs like LSD. He took the lessons. This period played an important role in Steve's life because he later benefited from these experiences in Apple's design and products. Steve started working at a video game company called Atari in 1974. He became friends with Steve Wozniak, whom he met here. Steve was a computer engineer and loved building personal computers. Steve recognized his talent, and they decided to work together. In 1906, Steve founded a company called Apple in his garage. Their first product was a computer called Apple. This computer was smaller, cheaper, and more useful than other computers of that period. Steve and Wozniak introduced this computer at the computer club, and it attracted great attention. A computer store ordered 50 units, and thus Apple's success story began. Apple has become a growing and popular company in a short time. Apple, which went public in 1980, made Steve and the millionaire. But Steve's vision was bigger. He wanted to make not just computers, but products that would change people's lives. Following this app ritual, Apple developed a business settings like Lisa and others. These computers are innovative, such as graphical user mouse, voice command, virtual memory. It had features. Steve also created effective advertising campaigns to market these products. For example, its advertisement, which aired during the Super in 1984 and referred to George Novel 1984, is considered one of the best advertisements in history. Although Steve played a big role in Apple's success, he began to experience some problems within the company. Steve had an authoritarian, oppressive, and tyrannical management style. He was very critical and harsh towards his employees and partners. He was also very meticulous in the product development process. Because of this, he came into conflict with many people. In 1985, there was a power struggle between him and Apple's CEO, John. Ultimately, Steve was suspended from the company by the board of directors. Steve described this incident as the biggest blow of his life. After leaving Apple, Steve founded a new computer company. Its name was Next. This company produced high-performance and expensive computers. However, these computers were sold very little, and the company made a loss. During this period, Steve turned to another venture. He bought the computer animation part of the film and named it Big. He made successful animated films such as Toy Story, Thin Brain Lone. In 2006, Disney bought it for $7.4 billion. Thus, Steve became Disney's largest shareholder and board member. Steve returned to the company he founded in 1996. When Apple purchased Next for $429 million, Apple at that time was in a difficult situation. Their products were not popular and their market share was decreasing. Steve transformed Apple's technology sector in the 2000s. iPhone, iPad, EQ. It offered revolutionary products and services, such as these products have been used and admired by millions of people. Steve was also famous for the presentations he made to promote these products. Black turtleneck. Dressed in jeans and sneakers, Steve created great charisma and excitement on stage. While explaining the features of his products, he liked to make surprises by saying, "One more, let's show this." While Steve continued Apple's success, he also struggled with health problems. Pancreatic cancer was diagnosed in 2003. He had a hard time in 2004. He had a liver transplant in 2009. In 2011, he resigned from Apple due to his deteriorating health condition. He died on the 5th of October of the same year, 1956. Steve Jobs was one of the most influential and millionaire personalities in the history of technology. It lives on in many products and services today. His words are an inspiration. Even his life gives motivation. There are many lessons we can learn from the life of Steve Jobs. Here are some of them. Do what you're passionate about, Steve. Steve Jobs devoted most of his life to the job he loved. He worked not just to make money, but to change people's lives. In his own words, if you don't love something, you can't be successful. He said it was that simple. Trust yourself. As a self-confident person, Steve Jobs listened to his own inner voice, not what others thought. In his own words, stay and trust in your love. They already know what you want to do. The rest said, second. Innovative stream. Steve Jobs was an innovator. He dreamed of what should be, not what is. In his own words, he said, "Customers don't know what they want. It's our job to show them." Steve Jobs was an innovator. He paid attention to every detail of his products. In his own words, he said, "Design is not just about how it looks, but how it works. Don't give up." Steve Jobs was a person who didn't give up. He should give up, despite the difficulties he experiences. In his own words, do not be afraid of failure, just keep going. You will understand how important it is to keep going, he said. Today, I told you about the life of Steve Jobs. I hope this video was useful to you and gave you inspiration and motivation. If you like it, please press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share your comments. See you in the next video. Motivation and inspiration. Goodbye.